Now, there's this rumor that Amazon might have shelved the Warhammer 40k show. And the question is, like, why is it so believable? Like, why are people willing to not just dismiss this out of hand? And the reason for it is that in modern day, in 2024, when a company like Amazon wants to create entertainment, they do several things. The first one is that they have little confidence in their own writers. They have very little confidence in their own world builders. So what they do is they take an IP which already exists, which already has lore, and then they purchase that and give it to their writers. Now the problem is that their writers are ideologically possessed to the point that when you have someone like Dave Chappelle making a Netflix special and earning the company a lot of money and getting a lot of eyeballs on the product, the writers, they go out and they strike. Like, they freak out. Like, that's the level of ideology that possesses these individuals. So when they receive an IP which is already made, they don't like it, so they start changing stuff, right? Like, you need female space marines now. Like, you need to pander to all the terminally online people on Twitter, and they need to race swap and they need to gender swap everything. Like, everything they touch, they have to change stuff. They can't just leave the IP as is, because while they can't create, they also want to create. So what they do is they take universes already made and they just tinker with them, much to the dissatisfaction of the customers. So that is like one thing, right? Like that's what Amazon is doing. They can't create stuff. They purchase IPs that are already made, and then they give it to their talentless teams of writers that just mess with the product. And then there's another component to it. They're still not satisfied with just taking the IP. Like they're still not satisfied with the fact that the brand that they got is already popular and it's going to attract people. They also need a celebrity, right? They need an established celebrity, a face that people recognize. Now, back in the day, that wasn't the case. Like if you look at many TV shows that I grew up with, like for instance, I would say even Game of Thrones, right? Like when Game of Thrones started in season 1, like most of those actors, I've never seen them before. Like they were random people, The 100, another example of a show. Like actually, many of the shows that I grew up with, even Xena, I would say, yeah, Hercules at the time. Kevin Sorbo wasn't that renowned. Like the studios, they had faith in just casting random people, and the reason they had faith is that they knew that the story is great. And of course, the people that they casted, they were not renowned, but they were presentable people. Like they were called stars because out of 300 millions of Americans, they would manage to find the ones that looked the best on a poster in order to entice the public to watch the production, right? So that's how they used to make shows back in the day. Now they don't. Now it's like they need to buy an IP that's already existing and already has a fan base, and then they want to get a famous actor that everyone recognizes, and then they add diversity into the mix, right? So they race swap, they gender swap. And the problem with this show, right, the problem with Warhammer 40k is that it just doesn't fit with this particular actor. It does seem that Henry Cavill is actually a person that does like 40k and wants to maintain the authenticity of 40k. Like, he doesn't like the gender swapping, the race swapping. He just wants 40k to be 40k. And this comes in conflict with the way Amazon or Netflix or all these other companies do business. It's also one of the main reasons that he left The Witcher. So, given that history, it's not surprising if this rumor is true. So, as you can see here, a new rumor claims that Amazon, MGM Studios, and Games Workshop 40k live-action project from Henry Cavill might be shelved. This new rumor comes from YouTuber Arch channel. He explains that right now the agreement in principle between Games Workshop and Amazon appears to be in effect, which means that a team of Amazon writers is right now trying to write out a story that is going to be turned into a television show. They have, I believe, a few more months for this deadline in order to complete the project and have it greenlit, or they have their writing date further postponed in the hope that they can produce something better further down the line, or the entire project will be shelved. He says that there are three. Those are the three opportunities. Either they'll have a project they'll go ahead with, or they're shelving the whole thing, or they're going to push the deadline further. No writing staff has been truly hired. No money has been truly allocated. No plans has been made, which is why the rumor has credibility. Games Workshop shared in a blog that the company had come to terms with Prime Video and Amazon MGM Studios to have the adaptations of Warhammer 40k brought to the big and the small screens. And the company says that back in December they announced that Games Workshop Studios had an agreement. Right. So basically, without Henry Cavill, I do not think that the company has the confidence of going forward. And I don't really blame them. I mean, we saw what's happening with Witcher, but in a way, like an actor like Henry Cavill can carry a show so much. I mean, his back probably hurts due to The Witcher, and I think like when he hopped off, he probably realized that if he kept staying, it would affect his acting career, because if you associate yourself with a production that has low viewership, that stigma kind of sticks on you. Like, people associate you with that failing production, even if it was good in the beginning, right? As it goes on and people stop watching it, they eventually associate it with the actor. And this is especially if you happen to star in many such productions, right? So, in the case of Henry Cavill, I do understand why he left The Witcher. And it wouldn't surprise me if he's looking at the writing from Amazon and he sees the same issues, the same problems that he saw with The Witcher happening here. And if he says that he's not interested, I do think that Amazon would panic and they would pull the plug, right? Because Amazon itself is probably thinking, like, they have one chance at this, right? Like, they already fucked up with Rings of Power plus Privilege. They want the first season to be good. Like, they want the first season to actually get people in. So they don't want to risk jeopardizing this. Because, again, like, what I think they desperately need is franchises. Like, they need the Lords of the Rings, right? So they failed with that, and now they're trying with Warhammer 40k. Like they desperately want something. What was it? Wheel of Time? They tried with that. It didn't work. And they just don't get why it doesn't work. And it's very simple. Like, if you look on their website, they have like a diversity and inclusivity thing where they basically say, in order to make a movie with us, like, you need this number of minorities. You need the check boxes, basically, right? And unfortunately, you can't create art with check boxes. Like, art needs to come from the soul. It needs to come from the passion. It needs to be a vision. It can't be like a product that comes from an assembly line and needs to fit the criteria, because then it's boring and uninteresting. And until Amazon can figure that out, I don't think even Henry Cavill can save them. Let me know what you guys think, though. And as usual, I will see you in the comment section. Take care.